Sissela, I was just starting to introduce you, and now you get to be there when I get to this. So we're fortunate today to speak with Sissela Johansson, who is this incredible photographer who is now based in Sweden,
Yep. I'm just
via
adjusting real quick.
America, via Denmark, and how I kind of came upon her photography is that I think it was this really wonderful interview that Sean Tucker did of you, and then I started kind of delving deeper, and Cicela's imagery is wonderful. It's beautifully lit. I like the loose compositions, but still intention. And then, of course, the real strong and true connections with the people that she and you photograph. But what really grabbed me were the words that accompanied the photos, and uh, which you put your heart into your photos, but you also share your heart with those words. And anyway, how are you today?
Flustered trying to get this whole setup to work.
Yeah, I'm the same, Cecile. So I'm not really one to be sort of in front of the camera, but this it's good to sort of come out of our comfort zones, and we got technical stuff, and we got to kind of have sort of emotional stuff, and I'm sporting a little bit of a cold today, but that's okay.
Oh,
I'm a big boy; I can handle it. But yeah, I'm really grateful that we've gotten to know each other a little bit, and I one of the things that sort of drew me to the words that you talked about being in flux. And I don't know if you want to talk about that, but as photographers, we're often we're often in a stage of creative flux, emotional flux, relationships. We're evolving, we're changing. But maybe you
life.
can share a little bit more about why you mentioned that in at least one of your posts.
Yeah, at least it's a good way of saying it because I talk a lot about everything that I do and why I do it, but not just the photography part of it, the part about being a creator,
Hmm.
being a creative, while trying to make everything else work, life. Um, and this state of flux that I'm currently in is flux is such an interesting concept as well. It's a place where I am questioning everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I do this on a regular basis. I've done it throughout my entire career and creative life. Um, but this one feels a little different because I'm being pulled in two directions.
Hmm.
There is the work that I want to create deeply from the bottom of my heart, which is more focused towards art. And
Yeah.
then there's the work that I absolutely love doing that I do professionally with my clients. And those two I'm trying to marry,
Yeah.
which is interesting as well. And I'm still I lived 10 years in the US, where everything was such a different culture of hustle, hustle, hustle. And
Mhm.
um, there was no safety net, there was no peace, there was no calm. I learned that now that my nervous system have been in constant fight or flight mode for the
Yeah.
better part of 10 years. So coming back from that and then settling here, I'm living more or less in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. So,
And
so on that note, one of the parts of Sean's video that I just loved is when you're walking through this incredible forest, you're stopping and picking mushrooms, and it's I can just feel how close you are to nature. And of course, that can happen in America as well, but I
yeah, oh yeah,
suspect that America is more about busy, more veneer, polish, a lot of noise, and back home is a lot calmer and grounded, perhaps aligned.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. That is exactly it. Being able to walk and
yeah.
collect my dinner is big part of it.
To photograph people really well, and especially you're a female photographer, and you're photographing a woman who might be going through her own
Mm.
turmoil. If she knows that you are also, kind of not going through things, but you're putting a little bit of yourself out there, the vulnerability out there. I would imagine that it sort of helps a little bit with the trust. Would you say?
Oh, 100%. I
Yeah,
think I think the idea of professionalism needs to change, especially when it comes to these types of the work that we're doing,
yeah,
where we're literally asking someone to be vulnerable in front of us,
sure.
and we have been taught to sit and be kind of poised and
Yeah,
professional,
yeah,
um, but it makes it really awkward.
yeah, yeah.
We're humans, and the best imagery happens coming from a place of being human.
Hmm.
So I think that's such a big part of it. Like, I always joke around. I'm a bad business owner in the sense that I bring my soul and my heart, my
Yeah,
feelings, my emotions into it, and I meet my client from that space. If I'm having a bad day, I'll let them know.
yeah.
And then they're like, you know what? I woke up and I felt like shit,
Yeah.
and I then we have this together.
Well,
It creates better images.
it's truth, right? It's honesty,
Hmm? Honesty, yeah.
and we as photographers, we didn't get into this so that we could be cookie cutter and to be,
No.
I don't know, to being too perfect. Like I think in order to do our job well, it's about sort of, we have to bring our heart to the studio, to the story, to the event, and yeah, it's helpful, I think. And you're right, like it's an extremely vulnerable situation to be photographed.
It is.
So if you bring a massive amount of overconfidence, we still have to bring confidence because they have to feel
Yes.
safe. But if we overwhelm our subjects with sort of too much of our, full-on personality, I think it can maybe not work so well for us. It's got to be that sort of push and pull, or yeah, push and pull. Yeah.
I definitely agree, and we have one saying, including transparency is gold, and yes, it is
Mm,
becoming being transparent with people is vital. I think. I mean, it depends on what type of photographer you are. If you are a headshot photographer and things need to go fast, then that's a different vibe. The work
mm,
that I do is very much based on connection and personality.
mm,
People hire me now at this stage where I'm at in my career as a not just for taking their images, they also want me specifically to take their images. They want to be
mhm.
seen by me,
Yes.
um, because of what I share,
Yeah.
because they see something of themselves in me. So I don't hold back with my personality.
Mm.
But if I was going to go to a job and at a corporation and things
It's
had to be a certain
it's
way, that's
it's different.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So some of the women that you're photographing, at least that I saw on some of your recent posts on Instagram, they're women that are they're not in transition, but they are going through something in their life. Like that must be quite an honor to be sort of capturing them while they're going through this time.
100%.
Mm.
The majority of my clients, no matter their age, um, are people who are going through something, whether it
Mm.
be, I mean, hitting a round number or divorce. I have a lot of
Mm.
divorcees. Death is a big one, loss of parents. But these major, major stages in our lives where we question our identity,
Mm.
everything about ourselves. And the majority of my clients now come to me and they're like, I want, I want to have your help
Yeah.
seeing these new sides of me. And it leaves me like often I'm floored by that
Mm.
trust because it's a lot and it's
Yeah.
amazing, and
Do
yeah, I
you
love it.
feel at the end of a shoot, do you feel quite drained by that? Is that part of it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Have
I
you
give
always
so much
been
that, yeah.
have you always been like when you were a teen, a younger woman, were you always emotionally intelligent, empathetic? Has that always been part of who you are as a person?
Yes, the empathy definitely. The emotional intelligence is learned. I have
Yeah.
a touch of autism, so to speak. I have autism, and I had to learn
Hmm.
human emotional behavior.
I understand.
So yeah, then I made it my superpower, and but there's
Yeah.
still situations where I don't understand anything.
Well, again, we all have these personal or emotional liabilities, but
Mm.
if we see them in a different light, they are and can become our superpowers. Um,
100%, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I saw on one of your posts you said something about when you were younger, you were the odd one out, or you tried to not sort of be in the way or something. Is that also part of, as a photographer, you don't want to impose too much. You want to sort of
Mm.
give that sort of space for that person's personality to sort of fit into the creative process.
I will say those two things are two very, very different things because the reasoning behind them are different.
Right.
Um, the whole me as a teenager thing is about being taught not to take up space because you are too loud, too much,
Hmm.
talk too much. Your presence is overpowering. You're too dominant. This
Hmm.
is something that a lot of women, especially, can feel.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing that you mentioned about being with a person who you're photographing,
Yeah.
that's respect.
Hmm.
And that is about giving space,
Hmm.
creating space for someone to feel themselves. Because when I'm photographing a person, it's, yeah, sure, I bring my personality to things, but it is not about me. I
Yeah.
leave my ego at the door
Sure.
and creating a space that is for
Hmm.
them. But those two things don't correlate in any way, shape, or form. One is forced upon me. The
Hmm.
other
Hmm.
is something that I do for people.
I understand. How do you, so if someone comes into your studio or you go into their space or you meet outdoors, what's your first step? How do you start to engage that trust? Or does it happen even before? Do you have to meet the client before?
Well, I have quite the process,
Right.
simply because trust takes time.
Yeah.
Connection takes time. So I have a discovery call first, which is a regular phone call where we talk about why. Why are they reaching out to me? And see if, frankly, if we're a good fit and whether or not they actually want to be photographed by me.
Hmm.
And then they say yes, and we have the consultation, and it's a video consultation. Or sometimes if it's local, I meet them in person. But here, sure, we talk a little bit about the photo shoot, but the majority of it is me getting to know them and understanding where they're coming from.
Right.
So by the time that I meet them, whether it be here, I photograph in my house,
Hmm.
or at their place, or whatever it is, then it's just two people who are kind of friends,
Hmm.
who meet up and does something awesome. And frankly, when people come here or I come to them, oftentimes I have a very deliberate, slow beginning where 30 minutes to an hour where we drink coffee, we
Hmm.
talk, we kind of just unwind and get
Yeah.
prepped. And it's all about creating the right mindset and the right space for what's going to
Hmm.
happen next.
Hmm.
So it's like easing into these next stages of what's going
Yes.
to happen.
Once you're in that process, once you start shooting, does it ever get really emotional?
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God, yes. So
Yeah.
often. But again, then it's about being able to hold space for that. And one thing that I do make very clear is I'm not a psychologist or a therapist. So there are certain things that I am not equipped to handle.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it's really, really like people have called me a phototherapist before because it can get very deep and personal.
Sure.
But for me, it's really, really important to establish and hold that boundary because
Hmm.
I cannot save them. I
Yeah.
cannot necessarily fix them. Some people in my past, like past clients, have wanted me to fix them,
Yeah.
and
It's not possible.
that's that's not possible. And it's not, frankly, it's not what you call it, responsible.
Yeah. Of course.
Like, but you can hold space for that
Hmm.
vulnerability, and you can honor the fact that they decide to show up with so much
Mhm.
trust and so much trust towards you.
I imagine that being photographed, though, like let's say someone is going through a difficult time, and their personal inner confidence is maybe a little bit down or dented or
Mhm.
fractured, to be photographed and then to look at the back of your camera. You don't tether, do you tether?
No, no,
No, me neither.
too bothersome.
Um, it's too, it gets in the way of the photo process for me. So
Hmm.
when they look in the back of the camera and they go, oh, they must see themselves in this different light than maybe how they see themselves in front of the mirror in the bathroom. It must be very rewarding for you, but also very good for them,
Oh,
right?
definitely. I have clients often show up in different stages, like mind stages. And sometimes they haven't had the best start to the day.
Yeah,
And sometimes they bring that with them to the photo shoot, and
yeah.
that's okay. And so some of them, it happens rarely, but it happens that they just cannot move past it. And so when they see the images, they're like, no, nope. Okay, then we figure it out.
Yeah.
But there is a, there's a beauty in capturing that state of being, and most of my clients actually choose
Mm.
to accept that that's where they're at in this moment. And again, like, talk about trust and gratitude. Like, I'm really, really grateful for how people decide to show up, even when it's necessary, not necessarily like perfect or happy.
Mm.
Oftentimes it's again about
One of
transitioning, transformation.
one of the things that's happened in my sort of photography experience in the last few years is I primarily do corporate, so it is more kind of headshots and executives and stuff. And we'll photograph somebody, and everything is working really well, in my opinion. And I look at the photo and I think, oh, that's really terrific based on everything. And I show them, and they also say, yeah, that's great. And then they go away, and then they look at the proofing gallery, and then they come back to you and say, yeah, I was going through something that day, and so whenever I look at the photograph, it reminds me of how I was feeling at
Yeah,
that time, which has nothing to do with the photo, but has everything to do with how they feel. And it just has made me better respect and appreciate that what we do has much more to do with the emotional side of things than the technical side of things. We can light
absolutely.
really well, compose really well, all that kind of stuff, and that's hard and complicated. But the emotional stuff is so critical, and it's what a wonderful responsibility it is. But it's not for
Yeah.
everybody. Not everybody can handle it, and the more experienced one is, the better they can be at it, I think.
And not all photography is about that. Like, I
Yeah,
like to, like, in my marketing, in the words that I put out, everything is about creating this space of vulnerability and showing up as they are.
yeah,
Um, that is that leaves a lot of room for those stages, like those moments of being in time.
yeah.
Um, but there are other types of photography where that's not necessarily the best place to be.
Mm,
um I just find it, like, if you want to, as a photographer, if you want to engage with people this in this kind of way,
mm,
you have to attract and set the scene very, very early on in your marketing.
mm.
um
Of
because
course.
if people,
Yeah.
yeah, people
Mm,
react when they see
yeah.
themselves as emotional.
Yeah.
um they have to know that that's part of the experience. And now, like, I see someone's asking if I have makeup artists, and I actually used to have makeup artists.
Yeah.
But there was a certain point, and this actually ties into what we're just talking about. But there's a certain point where I heard enough times with my clients, I don't recognize myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I had my makeup artist take it down and take it down and even more,
Mm,
until the point where it kind of just became skincare,
yeah.
making the skin look healthy.
Yeah.
But then I moved to Sweden,
Yeah.
and now I don't have anyone. Um, I might help
So,
them a little bit,
so
but that's it.
I was gonna talk to you a little bit about that. So, running Headshots Matter gives me the opportunity to see a lot of different photographers in different markets, and a photographer who's in Miami or or wherever in the United States, it is a lot of makeup. It is more veneered. It is more glossy. In the UK and in the rest of Europe, it's less. It's more grit. It's
Way
more
less.
honesty, right? And I, as a photographer, I love that. That's just so wonderful. And because it's just even if you want to get really deep about it, the makeup is that it's a barrier between the
Yeah,
photographer and the person. So even that's kind of troublesome for me, right? I try, and even when we do our corporate, people will say, do you ever work with makeup artists? No, we will, do blot or powder or flyaways, but nothing that will again make anyone feel less like themselves.
exactly.
Who would want that, right?
That's also like I think also depends on first of all what type of photography you
Sure.
do and who's your client. Because in when I was living in the US, I was living in Connecticut,
Hmm.
an hour and a half outside New York City,
Hmm.
and my clients wanted less and less and less makeup,
Hmm.
to the point where some people asked me, could they not? And so even it's not even just regional.
Hmm.
It's I think if you put the work out there where you show more non-made up faces, then
Hmm.
that's also the people you're going to attract, and those are everywhere,
Yeah.
even in the US.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess, right? My wife Jennifer and I, we watch, we don't watch television per se, but we stream and we watch a lot of kind of British episodic programs, and it just you don't think anyone's wearing any makeup. They look like people. They look like the people we'd see on the street, as opposed to someone that looks the same as the next person. And I really like that. So it must be wonderful. And I can only imagine that if you come from Europe in that sort of way that people like to be, it must have been a little bit of a round peg, square hole in the US for you.
Yes,
Yes.
and now we're back to flux because that's something that have always been like I've again, I'm not a very good business person in the sense that I don't
Mm.
know how to just do the thing, like
Yeah.
do the thing that everyone wants. So when I came to the US, since day one of starting my business, I had
Mm.
to adapt and adjust, but while maintaining my own
Mm.
sense of self.
Yeah.
Um, and that actually ended up becoming a lot of my signature.
Sure.
Um, and now I'm going in reverse
Yeah.
and figuring out what my work looks like here.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that it's becoming closer to my core because
Hmm.
the two are meeting and they're marrying, and I think that's really really fun and scary.
Because Europe is smaller than America or Canada, you must be able to travel, I guess. If you work on clients that are, in the UK or France or Germany, like you to get on a plane is not as a big of a deal as it is in America or Canada. So that might be something. But I think it's very important for you to I always sort of say we all have only one life to live. We don't get
Yes.
do-overs. We have to be true to ourselves. And
Yeah.
and even, talk about commercial photography. That's what I've always been. You will always, always, always shoot your best work when you are shooting for you. And I know that it's about problem solving and there's sort of brand stuff, but when you really put your heart into it, you're going to do a better job. So,
100%.
right? It's kind of not rocket science, but from a business perspective, it's maybe a little harder to find out how do you make a good living, but also stay true to you. But it can be done.
It
I
actually
believe.
kind of feels like rocket science in this day and age.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
perhaps.
obvious.
But is your family glad to have you back closer to home?
Yeah, they are. They are.
Yeah,
It was never an issue though. Like they've been very encouraging. And if
good.
I one day move out of the country again, I'm born and raised in Denmark, so I actually live in my third country now. So
Yeah.
if I at some point decide to leave this country as well, they'll be fine with it. But yeah,
One of the things you said in one of your posts, you've become hungry for discovery again, and
yeah.
it's so that must be fun to. Um, but can you do that? Can you go and sort of delve into that sort of kind of realm of discovery and still have a client that wants to pay you to do that? I imagine that you can, right? Because if that's part of your brand, part of what you're offering, it is about, we're going to discover some stuff together, and we're going to create
Yes.
some imagery together. We're going to collaborate together.
It's very much about the words that you put out there, and the images, of course. What you show is what you sell, and
Hmm.
um, I have throughout the past 8 years honed a body of work that is very much for my specific type of clients. And every time I'm like, okay, I want to shift it and push it even further.
Hmm.
That's I find more people to do that with, and then I put that work out there.
Hmm.
Um, I find that a lot of people now, where I'm at in my career, um, they want to be part of this discovery.
Hmm.
Like they want to, like they pay me to be my muse, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Um,
I think
it,
so. And photographers and painters have always had their muses, and typically it's like one or two, but if you can be projecting or and presenting or marketing yourself, that's really what you're chasing. That's pretty neat, right? For some
it is pretty
clients,
neat.
like for them to become part of that creative process, so that it's more dynamic and intertwined, as opposed to just something you're doing for them,
Yeah.
with them. But if it's they're really part of it, that must be quite special.
I will say it is, and it took me a long time to cultivate. Simply because you cannot, like, if you want to shoot fantasy style location images, then you cannot put out headshots. Like
Mhm.
that's then you cannot advertise with that. Like
It's confusing.
it is confusing, and it's not so much about confusing. It's about attraction again.
Mhm.
Um, one of the reasons, like one of the reasons why I'm able to do this now is because I niche down so hard.
Mhm.
Simply because I don't like doing weddings, I don't like doing events, all these different things. So it's like, okay, what do I like doing? I didn't become a self-employed to create stuff that didn't sit
Yeah.
well with me.
Mm.
Um, so I will say this, I've probably sacrificed a lot of money and clients over the years by
Mm.
having a very specific style.
Yeah.
If that's not for you, that's completely okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to do it this way, but
Yeah.
I will say if you want this type of clients,
Hmm.
yeah, then
But,
niching is
but
or
like I
whatever it's
said,
called.
Sissela, you got one life to live, and
Yeah.
when at some point, if you found out tomorrow that next week is going to be it, would you have wished that you did? Would you have wished that you compromised yourself more? Of course not.
No,
It's always going to be
no.
about sort of doing what's true to you. Um, I'm gonna. You're not a gear girl. I'm not a gear guy. I really don't like. I don't. Yeah. I know what equipment I have. By ask me the lenses, I'm not really sure. It's so. It's not what you've got. It's what you do with what you've got.
Mhm.
But I will ask you about studio versus outside location. I love that shoot that you did with that woman with you had some lighting outside, some imposed lighting, and it was kind of dark and kind of moody, and I love that. That was so nice. Was that
Thank you.
fun to tackle the to I don't know, because it's photographers, it takes a while to understand how to blend those two light sources, right? Ambient
Mm.
and posed. Was that fun for you?
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
So I've done the mixture for many years at this point, but it wasn't until last year I was doing a workshop in Connecticut, and my all the lights that we had were nan lights, which is a constant light. That's what I shoot with.
Yeah.
And I ended up taking one of their larger lights outside and had an extension cord
Mhm.
running through the window, and seeing the fact that you can use constant lights outside like this for photography, not just for video,
Yeah.
has been a game changer for me because
Mhm.
I honestly hate strobes. I
Yeah.
know how to use them, I just don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it doesn't fit my way of shooting.
And the
So
and the NAND lights are
yeah,
bright. They're bright enough to kind of overpower the ambient outside light enough. Does it have to be
depends
on
on
a
the
certain
light.
kind of day?
It depends on the light. They have a very large series of light. They were originally intended for video.
Hmm.
So obviously they have a large range. But the stuff that I use now when I go on location outside, I have one of their smaller lights and a
Yeah.
few like minor lights.
Mm.
And hi, Sean. Um,
Mhm.
and it cannot overpower the sun.
Yeah.
But when you have kind of a cloudy day, like it often is in Scandinavia or in the UK,
Mm.
uh, then it's perfect because
Sure.
you can get these really beautiful sceneries. Like the other day, I was out with a client, and everything was just covered in frost and mist.
Ah,
It was
nice.
so beautiful. And
Mm.
then I added the light, and it just creates a little bit of separation,
Cool.
and it's just it's magic, like
Mm.
truly.
Do you work with an assistant? Like when you go on location, do you have somebody that's lending a hand?
I wish.
Yeah.
First of all, no. Mainly because I it's not where I am right now. Second of all, I am very um, I'm not great at working with other people.
Yeah.
But
No,
the
no.
times
Hey,
that
hey,
I've had an
I'm
assistant,
what
it's
it,
been great.
what I'm going to tell you is don't worry about that. Because where I was going to go with that is when I look at your photographs, now that I've kind of looked at a lot and I've seen stuff of kind of behind the scenes, now in almost everything I see, I know you're there. And if you had an assistant there, then it's not the same. Then it's a production, right? So it's
Hmm.
fabricated. It's not as true. So I like the fact that you do it on your own. And it's sometimes it's a little harder, right? Because you got to kind of be in more than one place at one time. But I think it's your process. So I think it's
It,
good.
it it is. I will say I would there are times where I would absolutely love to have someone there, have an actual team, like a
Mm.
stylist and whatnot. I have so many pictures in my
Yeah,
brain, images that are dying to happen, but due
yeah.
to sheer amount of time and resources, I'm
Mhm.
not able to create them.
Yeah,
Where if I had a team behind me,
yeah.
it would make it a hell of a lot easier. Oh,
Sissela, it changes it. So in my own photography, I have a creative partner who I work with on all of our corporate commercial jobs, and we collaborate. We creatively collaborate on creating imagery, and it's great. And her name is Anita, and she helps to disarm and make sure the attention to detail is there, and the design composition stuff is all happening. But when I'm doing my personal, something that's personal to me, more of a
yeah,
personal black and white portrait, I don't really no. I was gonna be polite there. No, I don't want any help because it
yeah,
changes it for me. And could it be better if I had the assistance on that? Yeah, maybe, but it's different. It's just
yeah.
different, and we stand creatively taller when it's up to us all by ourselves, and so I think it's cool. But once you're back and you're figuring out a little more about what your offering is, you may do like honestly, your style it would be great for sort of very high-end commercial advertising projects. Not I wouldn't want to say fashion, even though you do beautiful stuff, but I like American Express or those really larger brands where they're incorporating environments and people. I think, but that would be obviously team. But
It's what I love
keep
doing too.
yeah, yeah. It's
Bigger
just
settings.
it's a different situation, right? And I'm
Yeah.
sure you've been told this before that your style little bit, and I don't really like saying someone has a style similar to someone else, but I'm sure you've been already told this.
I
But
have a
that
style.
any Leibowitz, right? Like some of her stuff where she would be just photographing women on their own, her portrait stuff. There's sort of some similarities to her stuff, maybe a decade or two ago. I think. Anyway.
I I agree to like I hear it a lot. People often mention that body of work from her,
Mhm.
which is, I mean, obviously deeply honoring. But yeah, like I think there's two. What I have to realize, and again, flux, is that those two things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Like one of the reasons why I also stopped having makeup artists were to keep the intimacy,
Yeah.
because you cannot get to the depths of where I want to go if there's
Yeah.
another person there and scrambling the
Sure.
trust and the feelings, the energy.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one thing, but the other thing can be this like
Hmm.
other type of work. Um, Even just a small team with very trusted people
Yeah.
could be an incredible change.
Definitely.
But I do consider myself more of an editorial style photographer,
Hmm.
like portrait photographer. Uh,
Yeah.
because I do love creating scenery and
Hmm.
working with the scenery, especially
Hmm.
outside. It's so much
I
fun.
think the word flux is a great book title. Just saying.
Flux. It is also the name of a Swedish mouthwash brand.
Oh, well, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
But then again, there's probably more people in the world that speak English versus
Yeah,
Swedish.
in Swedish, yeah, for sure. So, so what's next? What's in front of you? Do you have a sense?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I do. Um, I am. The other day, I sat down and I was looking at some old images
Mm,
from. Well, they're not that old. Like they're only from 23, but that was the year.
mm,
Like they're from the exact time season where I was leaving the US,
yeah.
and there was different light and all these different things. I was actually trying to create a video series about the light that I was
Mm,
doing back then. So I was looking at these images
mm,
and I realized how far I'd come already in these
mm,
past 2 years where I felt like nothing had happened.
yeah.
So I think what's happening now in these days, actual days, is reconnecting with that sense of trust within myself that what I'm on the
Mm,
right path, first of
yeah.
all, and just keep being true to my visions and my the things that I want to do. Keep doing what I've done so far. I'm currently working on a project called Crohn's. Um,
I saw that the one you got one woman that's in water, right? If whoever's watching this in the live format here, check out Sissela's Instagram. It's so beautiful. And
Thank you.
so uh, how did you handle like how do you shoot in water? Like that must have been a little tricky.
It's not.
And
I
where does the word Crohn's come from?
Okay, so well, first of all, the water session that I did there isn't fully part of the Crohn's thing.
Mm,
It's part of the inspiration, but it
okay.
was before I launched Crohn's. So Crohn's is a notch to society and how they see women as we age. Um, a lot of like there's two other names for Crohn's.
Mm,
It's like actually Crohn's Killinga Gjeringa, which is the Danish version and the Swedish version.
okay.
And these words originally came from the old Norse version of woman. They're literally like their original word is woman.
Mm,
There's a male counterpart to that, but over the years, these words have been made into something ugly.
mm,
Being a killing in Danish
mm,
is kind of nasty,
yeah.
and Crohn's is kind of the hag, the old woman in the forest. But it also symbolizes the final life stage, like
Yeah.
the mother making Crohn basically, where the mother she births, she is literally the mother figure. The maiden is young and she's spring, and then you have the crone who has all the knowledge of the two pasts.
Yeah.
And we live in a society that highly undervalues that knowledge.
I totally understand. Yeah, I get it. And I
So
agree.
it's about reclamation
Mm,
and a notch to the fact that you don't have to be young and smooth skinned to be in front of the camera.
yeah.
And
Well,
that
again,
frankly, wisdom.
we really get asking ourselves like, what is beauty too, right? Like I think you said in one of your posts that you don't see yourself as photographing people to make them beautiful because they already are
No.
beautiful. And actually, one of our members, Ivan Weiss, he says something like he would much more prefer to capture interestingness than to the stereotypical beauty. Although I think that they're intertwined personally, and right,
Yeah.
and also it's So that's a visual aesthetic, but also it's like when you have conversation and you get to learn about the wisdom that a mother has of those other sort of, frames of time. That's really terrific as well. I know in Canada, our indigenous communities, like they really, really, really embrace the mothers. And I think they even say, like, even if you're a grandmother, you're still just called mother, and it's quite special.
It's almost an
Anyways,
honorary title.
yeah. Anyway, so I think it's great that you're working on that. And
Thank
again,
you.
wouldn't that be a beautiful, again, book idea as well? Traveling
That is
around
in
the
the
world
works.
for, well, these lofty ideas are easy to come up with, but they're doable. That they're doable.
Crohn's, I think, is one of those
Mm,
projects that has to become a book for me. I
mm,
think they might become my first book.
mm,
Again, it's
mm,
in the world of social media. I think finding our way to something quieter,
mm.
calmer, is highly necessary,
The other,
and Crohn's is part of that.
yeah, the other thing, Cicella, is that with everything being talked about with AI and making things perfect, I think that the pendulum is gonna swing
Yes,
very quickly back to authentic and true. And
yeah,
I was going to say something else actually based on that. Like my wife Jennifer and I, we talk about this concept of being a truth seer. And I think that you're a truth seer. I think and you just happen to also have a camera that's part of that
I love
process.
that.
Yeah, and I think that's very cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that actually that yes, thank you. Yeah, that
Hmm.
feels very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
That's neat. So, um, you're a part of Headshots Matter, even though you're
yes,
not a headshot photographer. But why I wanted you to be a part of things is because you bring such a great element of inspiration, and that even if you're well, not even if, especially because you're in flux, because like what a wonderful lesson that is. Like that's like,
yeah,
do you have it all figured out? No. Does anyone have it
of
all
course not.
figured out? No. Right. So it's a good thing. It would
And
be
I'll say
fun.
like, oh, sorry,
It would be fun to have you. Maybe we'll do a Zoom or something, and then so it can be more interactive with our members, just so they can
I
be
love
uh,
that.
be, be talking to you about specifically about what you're working on, and yeah, it's not necessarily it may not have relevance to their businesses, but for their creativity for sure. Yeah.
I'll say this, like a lot of my clients come to me for headshots. I don't
Mm,
create a specific style of headshots,
yeah.
but the the people who come to me, like
Mm,
they often have two reasons.
yeah.
They use the professional one as an excuse to get the personal one, which is great. I
Yeah.
love it. But the people who come to me for personal branding images,
Yeah.
they don't want to look like an executive who are standing on a white
Mm,
backdrop and have like their arms
yeah.
crossed. They
Yeah.
want to they want their personal branding images to reflect who they are. They want it to be
Yeah.
personal.
Huh.
So I will actually argue that I
Mm,
am also a
yeah.
headshot photographer. I'm just
I
not a
like that.
traditional headshot photographer.
Yeah, I like that, and I think with creative photographers like yourself, we're gonna see that influence the style of headshots is going to be even more important. That it's going to not important, but it's going to change. Like even on LinkedIn, like why does everyone just have to have this? Like
Yeah,
it could have a little more story, and I think that
it's
that could be right.
we are again, as you said, we're living in a world of AI
Mm,
and artificial, and um, I think the pendulum is swinging towards. First of all, people want authenticity and they want
mm,
a level of vulnerability, and that also means showing up as who we are.
mm,
Personally, if for example, I remember living in the US and I was looking for a specific type of physician,
mm,
and there was these like little rat circles of headshots, and a lot of them were just a phone picture, and I actually deliberately didn't choose them. Or actually, no,
Hmm.
it wasn't deliberate. It was more of a I no, this I don't know, this doesn't feel right. But the people who had made something intentional
Effort. Yeah.
effort, yeah,
Yeah.
uh, that mixed with depth, I
Hmm.
think is something we're going to see much more of,
Yeah.
especially as a lot of the professional masks are slipping, and people are wanting to have more humanity
I
as a
like that.
juxtaposition.
So that's it. So maybe what we'll do is we'll create a little Zoom webinar that we can have you head it up. I'll moderate it, and we'll have our members sort of come in because I think that's cool. Like that, a lot of our photographers in London, the UK, as you know, I was there last week.
Mhm.
So fun. So
Had your
there's a
own
lot of
portrait done?
yeah, that's kind of fun. You know, Tom did a nice job, and
Oh, he's great.
so did Raj, and yeah, that's very special for me. But a lot of those photographers they shoot actors, and there's a formula to even acting photos. Like there's some studios that kind of have a bit of a formula, but I believe the ones that do a better service to the actors are the ones that capture a little bit more of the personality. So,
Yeah.
like Sean you've chatted a little bit with Sean in Stockholm. His stuff is very, it's not formula. Although
No,
maybe it's his formula, but he likes to capture
it
the real
works.
person. Yeah, yeah.
It's a great word.
Um, yeah. So what are you up to now? Like it's what will you do tonight? Or do you have any plans? Are
Let's
you
see.
heading out?
I mean, it's close to what, 6 p.m. my time.
Yeah,
So I'm probably gonna make myself dinner. I've had one video meeting earlier, and I've had a reveal session earlier as well.
yeah.
And I did some image work. So
Hmm.
I'm probably gonna like try to establish like professional work boundaries and
Yeah,
give myself time to not work.
yeah. Good idea. I was just thinking about something that I wanted to mention before we say goodbye, but something that my creative partner and I have been talking a little bit about lately is that obviously we're in the business of creating imagery and photographs and capturing that, but also like from a corporate perspective, we're also capturing self-confidence. And so we're always trying to, that's part of, maybe that's not always the truth, but we're trying to sort of try and capture that, find where that self-confidence is in that person. So it's just about how they can sort of be, and but it's also kind of how we handle it. Like you'll do your discovery call, you'll spend some time with them with some tea or coffee. Sometimes when we do corporate, we got to do all of that stuff all within like
Yeah,
a minute and a half, and which is really very fun when you have a
it
lot.
is.
But it's really truly about being respectful and kind and supportive and helping them kind of just surface.
I actually started my professional career. I started as a school photographer. I was
Ah,
working with a very, very um, like a company here, like a company in Denmark that does
yeah,
beautiful, beautiful stuff.
yeah.
And one of the rules was we were not allowed to tell people to smile, like
Ah,
these kids.
hmm,
We couldn't say cheese or whatnot.
fair
So
enough.
we had to make them smile and laugh naturally.
Hmm,
It taught me so like doing that in volume
hmm,
and having these people only having a few minutes with each,
yeah,
but still creating something beautiful.
hmm,
Um, taught me a lot about how to work with people
yeah,
in these types of settings. Like it's really fun setting these boundaries on yourself. For example,
hmm,
saying you cannot tell this person to smile. Okay,
yeah,
how do I
yeah.
get that natural
Interesting.
comfort out of them?
Hmm.
But yeah,
So sometimes parameters are helpful to
yes,
make us not make us more creative, but you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way, and you have to do it that way. Okay, all right. Sometimes the whole 100% blank canvas is harder, and
yeah.
it's just different, right? And
It's just a matter of whether or not you're building a round box or a square box or a rectangular or
hmm,
triangular or whatnot. You're building a box to fit the situation, and sometimes creating making that box a little narrower can
yeah,
can actually help you help the person come out even more, because it's less about what is happening in the lights and the gear and the camera and the checklist that we have in our heads, and just about the person who's in front of us.
Very cool. All right, I'm going to let you get on to your personal time,
Dinner.
and we'll talk more one-on-one just about how we can sort of have you kind of have a little more time with some of our members,
Sounds
and
great.
we will meet in person someday. We'll somehow
Yes, we
figure
will.
that one out because it's
I mean, I'll probably be back in the US at some point as well. Also, I love the community. It's been
yeah,
really fun.
yeah.
I've been really enjoying it.
It's really cool. Like being in the UK last week, or well, week before, and a bit of last week was so cool. And you know what, Sissela, the all of these photographers when they came together on the Sunday, and I think we had about 20 of them there.
Yeah.
Many of them had never met each other. They would never have a reason to meet face to face. A few of them did, and they all greeted each other with a hug, and they said goodbye with a hug.
I love that.
And so now they're friends, and it's so humbling for me that that our community is just so nice. Yeah, it's
I
a
agree.
goodie. It's humbling and it's special. So we'll
And we need
keep
community. We
yeah.
can't do this
Well,
alone.
no, no, for sure. And again, with this whole artificial intelligence time, it's yeah, we need people to lean on and to help do peer-to-peer kind of mentoring and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for this. That was really nice. I'm glad that we got to meet as close to being in person,
Yeah, me
and
too.
we'll spend more time. All right. And am
Absolutely.
I saying your name correctly?
How do you
Sissela?
say it?
Sissela? How would you say
Sissela.
it? Sissela.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean,
I
I've
don't.
gotten used to English speakers pronouncing my name in a million different ways. So it's basically Sicily with an A, Sissela.
I just don't want to get into trouble with your mom.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. I posted a picture earlier today of me with straight hair. When I showed her that picture, she couldn't even recognize me. She'll be fine.
Good, good. Okay, all right. You have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for
Talk
this.
soon.
Okay, all right.
Thank
Bye,
you. Bye.
bye, bye.